Amicus analysis. Amicus analysis. Amicus analysis. Amicus analysis.
Welcome to Hammerheads, the Amicus analysis, episode 11. The summer of love is truly over. Society is tearing itself apart, and the youth are getting angry. But enough about 2026. We're here to talk about the 1972 Amicus production, Whatever Became of Jack and Jill. And I'm going to hand over to my co-host, Miles, to introduce our special guest.
Thank you, Marcus. Our special guest is someone we've had on the show before. He is someone who has seen more Amicus and Hammer films than I have. He's a very old friend and horror writer, Andy Stanton, but not the Andy Stanton who works with Pixar, unless you're not.
Sadly, not. No,
it's not a very good nom de plume, is it? Andy Stanton, and then when you go to Hollywood, you're Andrew Stanton. No one will guess.
Yeah, exactly.
But we like you the way you are, so don't worry. And the reason we're having Andy back is, first of all, because we haven't had Andy on Amicus analysis yet. He was on series 1 of Hammerheads. Do you remember what episode it was, Andy?
It was Vampire Circus.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Vampire.
yes.
God, that seems. We've been doing this show now for 4 years. Can you believe it?
Wow. Yes.
It's crazy, isn't it? Because when we started it, we were like, well, we'll probably do one a month. Yeah, it's not quite happened that way, but we've definitely. I can't believe we're on film 11 of Amicus already. This is crazy. You just start and you think, oh well, at 18 movies, that's going to take ages. But the way we do it anyway. But
we did say that we would stick to the horror movies, and this is a bit of a dubious one. It's listed under the horror oeuvre of Amicus, but it doesn't feel too much like a horror movie.
it doesn't, and it's 1972 where they seem to make a lot of films. I think this and next episode and the previous episode are all films from 1972. They were clearly churning them out.
Released in 1972, but it was filmed in 1970.
Right. Well, I'm going to let Andy answer some questions, because Andy specifically said, if you do Whatever Became of Jack and Jill, can I please come on and talk about it? Because I really like this one. And Marcus and I will have only just watched it for the first time, I imagine. We watched a very grimy, greasy, grindhouse print on YouTube, which we've definitely all agreed does add something to it. So, Andy, what is it about this film that you think that is so good?
I mean, I just think it's the anti-Amicus film. It's so unlike Amicus that it's worth watching just for that alone. But I also think it's because I have not heard of this film before, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and We Belong Dead produced a book called Chopped Meat, which covered all the British horror films of the 1970s. And it was one of the films I chose to write about. I wrote about a lot of films I'd already seen, and I thought, no, come on, just choose something from random. Chose that. Then the hunt began to try and find a copy of it. As far as I know, it's never had an official VHS, DVD, Blu-ray release at all. And then found the grimy, washed out print on YouTube, which you guys watched as well. And when I watched it, it just really struck me as a very unsung, forgotten piece of British horror history, which I just thought I think it's an amazing film. I genuinely do. There's not a lot of people who do think it's an amazing film.
Well, more fool them.
Well, yeah, it just really blew me away. It's really it's incredibly dour. It's nihilistic.
Yeah. The
main characters are just awful, reprehensible people. You've got Mona Washburn as Granny, who just breaks your heart when you see a reaction to some of it. And it really took me by surprise as an Amicus film. And I've watched it a few times since then. And every time I watch it, it's just, why is this film not more widely known amongst horror fans?
I mean,
It is an Amicus film, but it's not an Amicus film, is it? It's like it's got that warning from the grave thing as well. Sorry, Marcus, go ahead.
yeah, no, I was just saying, I don't know how true this is, but I read that this particular film was more Max Rosenberg than Subotsky, which is kind of an oddity in the Amicus back catalogue. So Rosenberg kind of took on day-to-day duties on the film, and Subotsky went off on a holiday and then kind of came back and watched the film, and it's like, what the hell have you done? No one's going to want to watch this. We're going to be out of business.
Yeah, he hated it. Absolutely hated it.
Really?
So
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, one of them loved it, one of them hated it. And that started right from the beginning with a screenplay. You'll know all about this, Miles, that writing screenplays, and some people love it and some people hate it. And
Yeah.
the difficulty that he found writing it was he could please Rosenberg but not Subotsky, so he changed it, and then vice versa. And it went on from there. But it was very much, as you said, Marcus, I'll take the reins on this. You go away on holiday. And it's a bit of an oddity in that sense, yeah. It's kind of almost.
Have they sort of fallen out a bit, these two, by this point? Was it starting to fall apart, Amicus, because of the amount of time they'd been together, or because of competition or stress or something?
The impression I get was there was always a bit of friction, I think. But I think this was definitely coming down towards the end of it. And I think, I mean, this is just my opinion, but my opinion of this is it was very much the 70s have started, things are changing. Same as Hammer tried to mix things up in the 70s to try and attract new audiences. And I think this was pretty much their attempt at kind of almost like it's like a hagsploitation film, but in reverse.
Yes, it is, because the hag is actually a nice lady.
It's kind of got that kind of gaslighting thing that it reminded me a bit of Wait Until Dark or something like that. Obviously, a lot more kind of gritty and grimy, but it's
It reminded me of Frenzy. It reminded me of not as polished as Frenzy, but Frenzy by Hitchcock is one of my favorite Hitchcock films. It's such a nasty, very British 70s movie made round about the same time. It just reminded me of that. It's like there's one or two good characters in it, but generally the world seems like a disgustingly amoral place. And the lady killers, I guess, and then it's trying to off an old lady, and although in this case it goes slightly differently than it does in the Lady Killers. Not to spoil either movie. Oh, the Lady Killers, I think it's one of the best films ever made. The Lady Killers, yeah, it's fantastic. Marcus, should we get into a bit into the story of whatever became of Jack and Jill?
Yeah, well, I mean, Johnny, our hero, is played by Paul Nicholas, later of Just Good Friends fame. And
Just Good Friends.
Vanessa Howard plays Jill, his lovely lady. And
yes, lovely.
And there's Graham. So
yes, the
whole thing sort of relies on Johnny is living with Graham. He seems to be out of a job and sort of sponging off Graham to an extent, and seeing Jill, who is works in a travel agency. But yeah, it turns out quite quickly we find out that they're trying to off Graham so they can inherit and go on a spending spree.
Yeah, band apart as well. That's what it reminded me of. And let's rip off a rich old lady and get away with it. But no, you won't get away with it because it's going to end in tears. But it's a shame because they're both, very attractive young people. In where it's like the arse end of swinging 60s London, isn't it? That's the problem. I think it's like it is that here comes the 70s. The world has gone to pot. There is just this general sense of it's that Withnail squalor at the beginning when he's like walking around the house, and you think, I mean, it might have been the print. I don't know how pretty it looks in the house if you have a good print of this film, but that was the vibe I got. Was that sort of like the 60s is dead.
Yeah.
And the future is uncertain and depressing, and
And it's based on a novel by Lawrence Moody called The Ruthless Ones. But when it was originally financed by Amicus in 1970. The working title was
It's brilliant.
Romeo and Juliet 71.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I can sort of see how it's the anti Romeo and Juliet. I mean, in that play, everybody dies too. But Andy, do you tend to read the novels or short stories? A lot of these things are based of, like, you know, we've done a lot of Robert Bloch, and we've done, you know, things like Daphne du Maurier and stuff. And you know, personally, I've read, but then I did a literature degree, so I sort of like, I did like more to study the roots of these things, and I probably would have read a lot more. But do you go off and sort of check out the short stories and the books, or do you just enjoy the films?
For some things I do, yeah. I'll be honest, I've not read the book that this is based on. But yeah, I will divert into sort of going off and reading some of the other short stories and things, but I haven't for this for some strange reason. I don't suppose I got around to it. The thing I love about the title is it did. So its full title was Romeo and Juliet 1971, a gentle tale of sex, violence, corruption, and murder. It's delightful.
I think that's a pretty good marketing. They obviously had some problems with the marketing, didn't they? And that's why it didn't come out properly. And maybe it'll get one of those boutique Blu-ray releases where they clean it up, and, you know.
I almost, I'd love to see somebody like Indicator or Beaker, possibly Treasured Films release it. But I almost don't want it to look pristine, because I think part of what appeals to me about it is the crap print of it on YouTube.
I know what you mean, and with some movies I do feel like that. I think occasionally though I'll see an amazing 4K print, and I think this is like experiencing a new movie in an amazing way. You know what I mean? Like the new Suspiria print or something. You think, oh wow, I had never seen the movie like this, and it's better than it ever was. But yeah, you can ruin these things in terms of your memory of it.
Yeah,
the reviews of this film are pretty terrible throughout, but the one thing that they all mention is that the cinematography was great. So actually, when seeing this in the cinema the first time around, it obviously did impress people.
Who did the cinematography for this one? Do we know? Is it one of their regulars?
Jerry Turpin. Anyone know Jerry Turpin?
Jerry Turpin. I know someone
Ealing
called
Studios. Began with Ealing Studios.
Oh, okay, right. Jerry Turpin.
He's
ancestor of the late
Dirk. Nothing huge.
Oh, okay, because you know they tended to use their faves for a while, didn't they? But obviously everyone's swarmed off. Like they've got different directors now and stuff. But yeah, it's got that.
Who have they got as director? This is Bill Bain, who was also kind of from TV, isn't he?
Oh, Bill Bain, right? Okay, yeah. So there's starting to get TV directors.
Australian director. This kind of first-time feature director, which Amicus and Hannah to a certain extent used to do. And yeah, he directed a lot of episodes of The Avengers. He'd done a few episodes of Mystery and Imagination. So yeah, he was very, and he, as far as I know, this is his only film he directed.
Did Amicus do that thing that a lot of modern horror franchises do, where they get someone relatively unknown to direct one of their movies, and then their career either takes off, or they can just push them around and not pay them much? I wonder if Amicus did that.
It's quite cheap. It's quite cheap work,
yeah,
isn't it?
It's
that's
quite
true.
Cheap film,
I think
actually, yeah.
It is a cheap film, yeah. But the premise is solid. I think you've got the setup in the first 10 minutes, which is he's disgruntled, lazy, she's hates her job, wants to get away, and they're just like, let's do over the old lady. It's just a good premise, because you're like, okay, I get it. It's almost like you could do it in a portmanteau movie, couldn't you? You could do this as a 15-20 minute.
Yeah, I think we've said this before about some of Amicus's feature-length work. It's kind of like, well, could it have worked better as a shorter piece? But I mean, I think one of the reading a few things that Paul Nicholas said about the film, I don't think he felt that he and Vanessa Howard had the sexual chemistry on screen. I mean, obviously she plays it completely unhinged, which works really well, I think.
Yeah, she's great in it, actually.
You kind of don't know what she's going to do next, and you're a bit nervous about what's going to, because he's kind of a bit unhinged, but she takes it to the next level.
He's very good, isn't he? Because Paul Nicholas was sort of, in the 80s, he was, obviously known as a smoothie, and he, in Just Good Friends and stuff. But in this, he's got this desperation to him. I mean, it goes right to the end when he's crawling up the stairs going, help me, Gran. It's like, it's so pathetic. He's a pathetic character. And it just becomes, like, the story is fairly, right, we want to do over the old lady, get her house, get all her assets, and what turns out is that first of all, that doesn't work out, so there are complications. But one of the themes in the movie that really like stood out for me was that whole they tried to convince her that the society was decaying, and
Yeah,
it was
it's kind of a preposterous kind of
yeah.
setup, really. It's kind of quite entertaining, but it just feels like surely there were more straightforward ways to do her in.
I don't know. What do you
It-
think, Andy? Do you think this is like an apocalypse movie for the old lady?
I mean, it's pretty. It's a bit of a long-winded way to get to the end result.
Yeah.
Slowly trying to convince her that youth power,
Yeah.
are killing everybody over the age of 80, and then they change the
Mm.
lower lower the age rating so she's included. Um,
Yeah.
the out with the old is that they paint on the fence opposite. It's I'm sure there are easier ways of doing it. Um,
It's a bit
that's
elaborate.
certainly interesting. Yeah, it's quite elaborate. But I think what really makes it work, it is Mona Washburn.
Hmm.
Yes.
Her reaction to it is fantastic.
Oh,
Absolutely
I
fantastic.
know. Poor old thing.
Um,
You see the close-ups of her. You just think it is like um a hag movie, but that she's not a hag. She's the good guy.
you are
And
kind of waiting for, sorry, Mark, sorry. You
yeah,
are kind of waiting for it to think, oh, hang on, they're going to do me in. I'm not having
yeah,
it. And
yeah,
basically turn the tables on them.
yeah.
And she kind of does to a certain extent, but not in the way
Mm.
I think she will do.
Yeah, this is kind
Um,
of the third act, which for me had the most potential to be interesting when the two of Jack and Jill start to turn against each other. But it kind of feels like it's too short and it's slightly underplayed, and it could have, I think a lot could have been made of that third act. Um, yeah,
I know what you mean. It goes quite quiet, doesn't it, when it should be going out, sort of amping up and stuff. Because the
yeah,
ending, when they're out on the street, is quite shocking, and she's been stabbed. It is kind of like, I think it's got a good ending, and him crawling up the stairs and stuff. But I think it like actually one film that reminded me of it a little bit also, and then there's everything of every film in every other film, isn't there? But it's Last Night in Soho, Edgar Wright's movie, but that really amps up in the last in the last act, and everything goes absolutely insane. And I wonder if they could have, maybe they couldn't put much more in it because of the budget and stuff. But yeah, it went very quiet and gloomy and depressing round about the we need to find another girl for you to court, and then we'll get rid of her, and you know what I mean. It's just it got a little bit like, let's be horrible to someone else. It's like, you've already been beastly to this old woman. You could have been beastly to a young woman now. um but I suppose it kept things interesting, like how many plot points can you have about we're going to steal this old woman's money, because by the sort of 45-minute mark you're like, no, you're not, are you?
but you
you know
just feel as though they could have done more to make money in the final third of the film. Let out of women.
Oh,
oh,
that would be thrilling.
far too simple. Far too simple.
Yeah, I mean, they are twisted, aren't they? I mean, they're not even anti-heroes. They're awful. Um,
They are just terrible, terrible people. They are
yeah,
two of the worst characters you will ever see in anything, I think.
yeah. Maybe
I
that's
just
why
I
they
just
had
watched
problems
Hits
with it.
Me Deadly the other day. That was pretty bad.
Oh yeah, that's great, isn't it? Is that noir,
It is
the
pretty noir.
genre?
It's the
Yeah.
noirest of noir I've seen. But yeah, even the Hammer character in that is yeah, not much worse than these two.
Well, that's it. And one of the things that I read about it was that it is kind of like an Amicus Hammer movie, because it's got that threat from beyond the grave thing, and the warning, and the monkey's paw thing, careful what you wish for, and it's got that almost like, Grimsdyke. Don't be careful how you treat the elderly, because even though she doesn't win,
Yeah,
she does win in the end, because they both lose.
it's
They
kind of,
get they
yeah. I think we said this last time that all of the Amicus movies are morality tales, and none
yeah,
more so than the Portmanteau movies. But yeah, this one again, but it doesn't kind of quite play out in. There isn't the comeuppance. Well, there is they die obviously, but there's like there's
yeah.
you kind of want to see them suffer a bit more before that.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe that's what's missing in the last 20 minutes. It was quite a short movie, isn't it? I wonder what the League of Gentlemen lot make of this one because I'd never heard it mentioned before, and I thought it was going to be like one of their groovy it's trad dad type movies where they were like trying to, hey, it's a young couple. It's like they're about as groovy as moldy bread. They're not nice people. But I wonder if because the 70s became very quickly a very morose decade for movies, didn't it? We had kitchen sink stuff, and then America, they had Vietnam, and it is underrated, I think, what became a jacket. It's one of those films I would say, look, if you can watch it on YouTube and you can stand to watch the terrible print, it stays with you. I was thinking about it afterwards. I was thinking about how characters that do something that I don't know how they live with themselves. Well, they don't have to live for long, do they?
It's kind of peak British grimy grotty, isn't it? Because I think Get Carter is 71, so it's
yeah. Now there's a movie.
Yeah. I think that for me is why it appeals to me so much. Just I do like a somber, gritty, depressing film, I suppose. It doesn't come much more than this, and I absolutely get what you mean about the last act is quite short, and you're expecting a little bit more from it. But I also think the fact that they've achieved the end result of what they wanted, and poor old Granny's sort of dead and buried.
Yeah.
But then when they find out what they've done to basically what she's done to screw them over, and then just the slow realization that, oh great, so we're stuck now.
Yes.
Stuck with you, and you're stuck with me.
Yeah, it's the curse, isn't it?
The awful scene where Paul Nicholas is in the bath and she's washing it. I mean, good God.
He's absolutely lost his soul, hasn't it? And
the scene in last bit of dignity is just come on.
I know they've realized that that feeling of we could be together, and now oh my God, now we're stuck together. It's a great twisteroo. I loved it when he's reading the will out as well. It's like you just know it's like he's waiting for how much and it's like no, you're not getting anything, mate. You can have the house and that's it. You're gonna die in that house.
There's the ironing scene as well, isn't it? It's like they didn't do any ironing until that last third of the movie. Suddenly lots of ironing to do.
Do you think I think there's something probably quite profound going on there, which is about the sort of it's the loss of hope of the youth of that day. Like the 60s are over. The old people are we can't relate to them, but we want stuff and we want it for free and we want it now. And I think 50 years later, that film, you could say, well, you could remake it now and you could have a bunch of spoiled. Do you know what I mean? There's a couple of spoiled kids, and they're just like, "Oh, we'll just get this. No, we're entitled to it. We just want this free house and loads of stuff." And it's like you can't, and they can't get at it. They can't get at the money. And
Romeo and Juliet 26. There you go.
Yeah, it would work. I think. Yeah, but there you go. So I'd make it a dark comedy. I think because I think this was there was not a lot of comedy in it, but it was one of those films that I like to call a pleasant ordeal because after 80 minutes, I was like it was nicely made and nicely acted stuff, but I was like, oh, that was hard. That was hard to see them torture this old lady and just descend into just torpor. But you end up and you go, wow, that I got into it, really got into it.
It does pull you in. Even the weird pre-American Wealth in London dream within a dream, although it's a daydream within a daydream.
Yes, with the Nazi. Yeah.
Where did that come from?
Mentioned that. Yeah, I know. I was watching it going, oh, he's watching these people, and then, and now he's got a Nazi outfit. I know he's machine gunning them all to death. Okay, right. It was very American Werewolf in London, wasn't it?
Yeah. But it does take you in. It really does pull you into the story. And you just, for me, the first time I watched it, there was a few things going on for me. The first was waiting for Granny to go absolutely bonkers and do the minute.
Yes.
Sheila Keith style.
Yes.
And then when that didn't happen, it was kind of, right, they're obviously not going to get away with it. It's going to happen to them. And it was just, by the end of it, it was, you do feel quite beaten by it.
Yeah. I wondered if they were going to do the thing of the old lady, like in Lady Killers. They're so inept and she's so sweet that one by one they just
She
destroy
accidentally
this.
yeah.
Yeah, she kills them all. Yeah. What do you think that Paul? What do you think the Nazi machine gun scene? Do you think he was thinking, that's interesting, or do you think he was because he seemed amused by it, like I'm a bit like a Nazi, or just was it just massive, just massive nihilism? I guess at that point.
I just think it's down to because I do think Jill is the driving force behind it.
Definitely.
She's she's a great character.
She
Brilliant
is.
played, absolutely brilliant played.
Yes.
And I just think she's just beating down so much into this, and it was. I mean, it's an awful daydream, but
Yes.
you know, 71. It's not that long after the end of the war, really. So
Yeah.
you know, it's still in people's consciousness very much.
It's
Yeah.
quite shocking, that scene, I think. Yeah.
It's very shocking. I thought
It is shocking. It came out. I was like, "Whoa, that is a strong image."
Yeah.
I mean, anyone dressed like that is a strong image, but just the way he does it, and
I can just imagine
she-
Sabotsky watching that scene.
well, that's
Yeah.
it. I
What
know,
have
as
you
a
done,
Jewish guy-
Rosenberg?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they both Jewish. I think Rosenberg was, but I don't know. Sabotsky maybe. But yeah, what a horrible thing to come up with. I wonder if they were trying to shock deliberately, or
I
just
think
show
it was
that
a
he.
deliberate shock tactic, but I also think it was kind of just to show how far down that path the character had gone as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess he'd lost his marbles.
It casually, casually daydreaming that you're a Nazi and you are,
I've never done it.
machine gunning old age pensioners. Hopefully, doesn't happen to too many people, but I do think it was just a massive shock moment. But it does come out it a bit too left field, I think, for me for that once. It's a very good shock tactic, but it doesn't quite fit into the overall film. I don't think.
Didn't quite fit. It was like If the really dark version of If.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird to do that kind of Nazi sequence like once and then not throw in other surreal elements. It was strange to do that just the once.
Yes, I think we all agreed that it threw us out the film a little bit. It was like, okay, but that's tonally, that's very odd. That just left me thinking, what was going through his mind? Is he losing his mind? Does he side with fascists? Does he think of himself as a fascist, or does he think this is how I'll be seen, or is he daydreaming, or
he seems very kind of morally vacant, doesn't he? So maybe it's just not even a kind of judgment about whether it's appropriate or not. He's just thinking about it.
I'm actually surprised it's not more kitchen sink shocking, like Poor Cow or something, because it's got that for the time it came out. I'm surprised it wasn't like I mean, it sounds ridiculous on TV for everyone to go, oh, have you seen What Became of Jack and Jill? It's like the sort of dark side of whatever happened to the Likely Lads. Well, I'd never heard of it until we started doing this podcast and looked down the list, and that came out. I was like,
As I say, I'd never heard of it until a few years ago, but with the book that was done, never come across it at all. It doesn't help that it's never had a physical release, as far as I know.
No.
I think there's some dodgy bootleg DVDs out there if you look hard enough, but I don't think it's ever had an official release. It just sort of, I think it made something like just under £2,000 on its initial run in the UK, and then just appeared.
It's weird, isn't it?
Went out on a double bill, I think, the Conquest of the Planet of the Apes.
No way.
Died a death.
Strange Bedfellows, yes.
Yeah, so it did get a release, but obviously it was in competition with bigger movies. But
it's a shame.
Paul Nicholas sort of. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Amicus disowned it, didn't they? Because they basically sold it on to, was it 20th Century Fox, and then kind of didn't. It was never formally part of the Amicus back catalogue. It was they produced it for the other, as if it were for the other studio.
Yeah, weirdly, what I found as well is it kind of, it really just isn't discussed. I mean,
no,
like both of you, I've got one or two books on sort of films and
one or two
films, and it's barely mentioned. It gets mentioned in books specifically about Amicus, but on general sort of films about British horror, it gets a passing 2 or 3 lines.
Yeah,
and it's such a shame, and it's almost like they've adhered to those snooty reviews at the time. And it's like, well, forget that. That's nearly 60 years ago, those reviews. You can just ignore them and reevaluate it. And that's what I love about films that are made the best way they can make, because, you know, in 20 years time, who knows, if it doesn't get approved at the time, it may improve with age. And I feel like a film like this, it doesn't deserve to be, but like you say, no one's been able to see it in any decent format, so that doesn't help.
I wonder if it was even on terrestrial television back in the day. You know, it feels as though it might have been a bit edgy for some of the kind of BBC Two, Channel 4 type reruns.
Maybe by the time the 80s came around, Paul Nicholas probably didn't want to put it on his, but he might be super proud of it. I don't know, or maybe he just thought, well, I have images of as a sitcom, you know, smoothie. Maybe he didn't want that anymore. And then in the 90s, he started doing panto and stuff. So it was very mainstream. I don't know if he did this film in the 70s and then thought, well, that didn't work. I'll do TV instead. I don't know. It's a shame if he thinks that. If you're listening, Paul, I'll be amazed. But yeah, like I said, I thought it was going to be one of those groovy jazz, hey, kid, you know, hey, daddy-o, it's the 70s now. And I was like, no, it wasn't like that at all.
It does start
like that. Yeah,
the music over the opening titles, it does not give you the impression that of the film you're about to watch.
It doesn't really.
Very upbeat sort of pop song.
It's like an Evil Dead in reverse, isn't it? Because at the end of Evil Dead, after all that gore and horror happens, it's like.
But that's always what Rosenberg and Subotsky have been about, though, haven't they? They always were doing those movies about the kind of counterculture music of the 1950s, and you know that's where they started. So I think they've always been fascinated by youth culture and how that grates against the norms in society.
Yeah, and I genuinely think this is a relevant story, and I genuinely think if no one restores it or remakes it, it is very tempting to make this kind of story, because I love films about, you know, social media influencers and the sort of vacuous nature of that, and people who care too much about money and just doing everyone over and just getting what they can get. And we live in a world where that's very, you know, everyone knows that's happening every day at the highest levels as well. So I think you could make something these days which was about an amoral couple.
It's almost like the whole youth rebellion thing is like conspiracy theories and going down the rabbit hole. You could do something like that for 2026.
It's like doom scrolling, isn't it? Yeah, you could. You absolutely
get somebody
could.
to believe something that just isn't really happening in society. And
easily.
I do think the storyline is as relevant probably now as it was then. In so much, and I'm not advocating for youth power and going down the route of John and Jill, but you know the whole the younger generation struggling to get on the housing ladder for one.
Exactly.
Find jobs.
Exactly.
You know, it's all still quite relevant. Yeah,
it's like the whole sense of it's not fair, you know. No one can save up any money anymore. The mortgages are ridiculous. No one can. You could 100%. I mean, it goes to show you the more things change, the more they stay the same. A film like this, because you could say, "Oh, it's dated and it's 70s and everyone's got flares and stuff." Like, nah, it doesn't matter. The themes are incredibly powerful and scary, and you know, they're not evil. They're just amoral. They're just. You know, but you can imagine characters like that, like the sort of Natural Born Killers character, or you know, all these anything that in the last 10 years, which is about the social, you know, Ingrid Goes West or Spree or any of these, you know, Sissy, these social media movies where you think, what are you doing to these protagonists, these anti-heroes? Why do you care so much about doing this at the expense of losing your soul? You know, why would you do over an old lady just to get some money? Why would you do it? In a movie, it's like, well, because, you know, if they kill the old lady, they get the money. But then I think they gradually realize, well, he does anyway. This is going to kill me. I cannot live with this. This is too evil. And that was very powerful in the film. Like, I didn't think any of it was ridiculous. I didn't like laugh, oh, that's ridiculous. I was quite compelled for 80 minutes watching it going, what they're gonna die. But what's going to happen to the old lady? And then, it was bleak, but in a very compelling way. Compellingly bleak, the times.
That'd be quite a good review for actually.
It would, but
Better than the
there's
reviews
any-
it got. Yeah.
that's the thing that everyone's tied to these reviews, and it's like I think it's ripe for a reevaluation. So if anyone's listening to this who's got any power at all to do anything about what became Jack and Jill, get it onto a boutique label with a nice 4K restoration or something and some extras. Get Paul Nicholas to do the commentary.
Definitely.
I
That would
want to
be
know
amazing.
more. Yeah. And what happened to the female lead? Because they sort of set her up as she was going to be a scream queen for Amicus, wasn't she?
She retired I think she retired after this film from acting. So she'd done a few similar roles. And I think
They really were ashamed of it, weren't they? Everyone who made it, they just kind of buried it.
Pretty much, yeah. I don't think they were overly enamoured with the end result, which is a real shame. Actually, it is a real shame.
Yeah.
So
It's always a shame when any film gets buried. I mean, we live in the time when, Coyote versus Acme is finally getting released, but they wrote it off as a tax dodge originally, and now it's getting released because everyone went, just release the damn thing. So, I don't know if the amount of people who got behind Coyote versus Acme will get behind this film, but all it takes is a few. I wonder if, someone like Laurie at the new Amicus films would have any interest in that. Maybe I'll send him an email. He's very chatty.
Who owns the rights? And if it was just got sold on to 20th Century Fox, and maybe it's just such small fry for them. I don't know.
Yeah. They probably argue that I don't know if people would see it, but here's three chaps that would. So that's three.
I'm really exactly. I'm so pleased that you because when we first started and you started talking, okay, they're not overly impressed with it. They're not overly. Now I've got you both agreeing that it needs a boutique release.
Now the best film ever.
And there is something fascinating about a film that's forbidden fruit as well. It's like you can't see it. Well, I want to see it. Well, you can't.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it's got that vibe. But maybe one day we'll do it. We'll be able to watch. We'll have a screening of it where we'll finally see all the secrets, and then we'll go, oh god, this film's terrible.
That's what I'm worried about. Seeing it in 4K. It's terrible.
Yeah.
That has been a fascinating episode, if I say so myself. But it's great. So thank you very much for joining us on that, Andy. It's always a pleasure to have you on the podcast. And next time we will be going back to portmanteau territory with Asylum, the 1972 British anthology from Amicus, or known by its less politically correct name in the US, House of Crazies.
I wondered what that was going to be after what we were just talking about. Like, well, God.
And it's the last writing duties for Amicus for Robert Bloch as well this time.
Ah, boo.
Boo.
Oh, he's one of our heroes as well. We've covered so much of his stuff, haven't we?
Thank you, as always, for joining us on the podcast journey, Amicus Analysis. And we will be back before very long with Asylum. Come to the asylum to get killed is the strapline.
Come to the asylum to get killed.
And on that bombshell, we'll see you next time.